Just watch what happens. The front camera, nobody's on this road, especially at the corner of the left side in front of the car. And then I repeat, in front of the car on the left side. Watch. As he turns right, goes past this church-like building here, apartment complexes. Nobody's over here. Hold on, hang on.
Guys, look. There's no one here. No one in this corner.
Nobody's there on that corner. Let's look at the back left camera, you can see.
Look at this. Still, nobody here.
Nobody there.
Look at my left camera.
Nothing happens. Nobody comes. And he's just like, he's been there the whole time in the middle of the intersection. He's spawned right on the road. Those two but doesn't care that he's blocking traffic. It's not registering in the other camera. He registered not noticing it. Folks, this is wild. We're some clips here. Testing the screen.
Guys, look. There's no one here.
He's got to be hitting over there.
No one in this corner.
I think this is stopped. He can't even walk and stopped right there. Yeah, whatever.
For violating traffic law in the state of Colorado.
The word violation in law means to cause loss, injury, or...
We're seeking probable cause to assume that a crime has been committed. Now, I'm not after these judges. I'm not trying to say that they need to go to prison. I'm saying that they have legal, constitutional, statutory obligations imposed by positive law that they need to fulfill. And failure to do so is a crime. And they've already implicitly invited punishment in the form of perjury should they refuse to fulfill those obligations. When a judge enters into his office, he swears that he will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And then in Article 6, it clearly states the judges in every state shall be bound thereby anything in the Constitution or laws of any states contrary notwithstanding. So they have an obligation that's constitutionally codified and imposed upon them by their oath of office. And failure to fulfill that promise is in fact a crime. They've already implicitly invited punishment in the form of perjury should they refuse to do it. So, you know, my big argument, what we're bringing to the United States Supreme Court.
How did a pivotal moment shift your views on justice?
Which pivotal moments? I mean,
You know, I don't know.
So
there was one of the questions. Just pick one, I guess.
Okay. Well, so we're looking at a pretty pivotal moment right now, right? Because what we're looking at today, the case that I'm bringing forward, this has to do with what is the role of states within our society. You know, the states, when they joined the Union, they gave up their sovereignty to join the Union to subject themselves to the supremacy of the United States Constitution. I think that anybody with basic 11th grade civics classes would understand that particular notion. That here in America, we've got a union. And that union is made up of 50 non-sovereign states with a centralized governing structure. We don't have sovereign states because the definition of a sovereign state is a state that's complete in itself, not subject to a higher government's laws. So as these states claim to be sovereign, they're saying that they have the ability to be able to act in their own way and govern themselves, and so states do not have the authority to create their own laws and then substitute them for the guarantees of the Constitution of the United States. And yet we've got a number of states, 42 of them in fact, that have created laws in their inferior state constitutions that directly abridge the guarantees of the Constitution of the United States of America. That's a big problem, right? Because that's not the role that states have. They don't have the authority to be able to create their own laws. So we're at a very, very pivotal point here where we need to decide, are states sovereign? And if they are, then great. The United States Constitution is not the supreme law of the land, does not enjoy legal superiority over conflicting provisions with state constitutions and laws, and that means that the states are more powerful than the central government. And if that's the direction we want to go as a nation, then I guess that I'm just one of 330 million constituents and voters that But I don't believe that that's the direction that people want to go. That was where we were at 243 years ago when we went into the Constitutional Convention, when we started to discuss, what is it that we're going to do? Benjamin Franklin, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, all of the founders that went into that Constitutional Convention, they had basically three questions that they needed to respond to. One of those questions were that these states, there was no way to get a sovereign state to actually implement the laws that were created by the central government. And thus they resolved it by creating the legislative branch, creating the union. But today, we have all of these states that claim to be sovereign and claim to be able to pick and choose which laws they want to implement or not implement from the central government. And that is absolutely contrary to what the American people believe. And so we need to make a decision. Are the states sovereign? And if they are, then we're living in a confederacy once again. But if they're not, then that means that the Constitution of the United States of America is the supreme law of the land. It does enjoy legal superiority over conflicting provisions of state constitutions and laws, which means that no state can create a law that abridges any of the guarantees of the Constitution of the United States in any manner, in any form, or any due. Then that would mean that that law is unconstitutional, and whatever derives from that law is also unconstitutional. If you don't mind, let me give you an example, right? Very quick. So Clause 1 of Amendment 5. Now, the first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights. Everybody knows that. The first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights. They were adopted and ratified by the people on December 15th, 1791. Purposes. No one is denying or arguing with me about the validity of the first 10 amendments. Clause 1 of Amendment 5 says, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment of a grand jury. Now that's clear. You better have an indictment by a grand jury before arresting someone or holding someone over for a capital or an infamous crime. However, the state of Washington has an inferior constitutional provision, Article 1, Section 26, that says, no grand jury shall be drawn or summoned in any county. So now we have an inferior state constitution that functions directly to the contrary of the United States Constitution. Now we got a supremacy issue. Now we have to determine which laws are supreme. Now, I'm using this indictment issue as a mechanism to be heard by the court because today there's more than 700,000 people currently in prison here in America on direct facial constitutional violations. Means the state did not follow the proper procedures and processes enumerated and written within the Constitution for all to see in the procedures to put a person into prison. That would be a direct facial constitutional violation. There's more than 700,000 people that are currently in prison illegally and unconstitutionally on direct facial constitutional violations because the states did not conduct a grand jury, secure an indictment, and they prosecuted by way of what's called information, not indictment. Well, according to Title 18, subsection 555, information can only be used as the charging instrument for non-infamous crimes, for misdemeanors, and yet these states are permitting them to be able to charge that way. Now, when I started this litigation, I thought that it was somewhat localized. I thought that it was just the state of Washington, but it's not. There's actually 13 states that do not conduct a grand jury here in America, including the state of Pennsylvania, state of Michigan, state of Connecticut, state of Oklahoma, state of Washington. These are states that are acting in direct willful appliance of the procedures and processes codified in the Constitution, and that's a pretty big deal, right? But that gets us in to be able to have a much bigger conversation about a much bigger issue, and that is, can states actually be judged in a case in which the state itself is a party in the cause? And the answer there is going to be no. But that's the heart of our litigation. But these states, a good example would be the state of Rhode Island. I'm going around, I'm serving all the state Supreme Courts, state of Pennsylvania, state of Michigan, state of Connecticut, state of Oklahoma, state of Washington. These are states that are acting in direct willful appliance of the procedures and processes codified in the Constitution. And that's a pretty big deal. Right? But that gets us in to be able to have a much bigger conversation about a much bigger issue, and that is, can states actually be judged in a case in which the state itself is a party in the cause? And the answer there is going to be no. But that's the heart of our litigation. But these states, a good example would be the state of Rhode Island. I'm going around, I'm serving all the state Supreme Courts, all the state attorney generals right now. We've served 42 of them so far. I was just in Rhode Island just the other day, and the Attorney General of Rhode Island, Mr. I don't remember his name. His name he's not important enough to remember, unfortunately, especially making a statement such as this. But the Rhode Island Attorney General, he was out campaigning just a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago, and he went to a rally speech at a high school up in Rhode Island, and he stated during that speech, he said that he's aware that a number of these statutes are unconstitutional, but that he's going to continue to enforce them until directed otherwise. And that just goes to show what it is that we're looking at here, because these states, they believe that they have the power to alter the Constitution of the United States, go especially making a statement such as this. But the Rhode Island Attorney General, he was out campaigning just a few weeks ago, and or a couple months ago, and he went to a rally speech at a high school up in Rhode Island, and he stated during that speech, he said that he's aware that a number of these statutes are unconstitutional, but that he's going to continue to enforce them until directed otherwise. And that just goes to show what it is that we're looking at here, because these states, they believe that they have the power to alter the Constitution of the United States, go against the will of the people, and act in whatever arbitrary capricious manner that they want, and they're going to continue to do it as long as their leadership permits them to do it. And that's why my focus is on the Supreme Court of the United States, because until the which the state itself is a party in the cause, and the answer there is going to be no. But that's the heart of our litigation. But but these states, a good example would be the state of Rhode Island. I'm going around, I'm serving all the state Supreme Courts, all the state attorney generals right now. We've served 42 of them so far. I was just in Rhode Island just the other day, and the Attorney General of Rhode Island, Mr. I don't remember his name. His name he's not important enough to remember, unfortunately, especially making a statement such as this. But the Rhode Island Attorney General, he was out campaigning just a few weeks ago, and or a couple months ago, and he went to a rally speech at a high school up in Rhode Island, and he stated during that speech, he said that he's aware that a number of these statutes are unconstitutional, but that he's going to continue to enforce them about a much bigger issue, and that is, can states actually be all the state attorney generals right now, Mr. Two of them so far. I was just in Rhode Island just the other day, and the Attorney General of Rhode Island, Mr. I don't remember his name. His name he's not important enough to remember, unfortunately, to making a statement such as this. But the Rhode Island General, he was out campaigning just a few weeks ago, and or a couple months ago, and he went to a rally speech at a high school up in Rhode Island, and he stated during that speech, he said that he's aware that a number of these statutes are unconstitutional, but that he's going to continue to enforce them until directed otherwise. And that just goes to show what it is that we're looking at here, because these states, they believe that they have the power to alter the Constitution of the United States, go against the will of the people, and act in whatever arbitrary capricious manner that they want, and they're going to continue to do it as long as their leadership permits them to do it. And that's why my focus is on the Supreme Court of the United States, because until the Supreme Court of the United States step up and accepts the criminality, accepts the actions that they're permitting their agents to do in a treasonous and unlawful manner, until we get the highest court in the land to acknowledge their criminality in permitting their agents to act criminal, then we're not going to get the action that we're looking for out of the edge. The reason why these state judges are acting in the tyrannical nature that they are, or the oppressive nature that they are, is because the highest court in the land is permitting them to do it. Say that you can't go to the court and get the court to act proper, which is why ultimately the decision is going to come from the court, but the battle is fought in the opinion of the public, and that's why I'm out here fighting the public, making the public aware, because as long as the public permits their agents, the courts and judges, to do the things that they're doing, the public is culpable in their negligence in permitting this to happen. So there's a number of states that are acting in direct willful defiance of the Constitution in a number of different ways. We're taking one particular issue, one small issue that's actually quite large, the indictment by grand jury issue. We're taking that issue and using it as a springboard to talk about a much, much bigger issue, and that is, what is the role of these states And are they sovereign or not? Because they cannot be sovereign if we live within a union. Because a union is defined as two or more non-sovereign states with a centralized governing structure. A confederacy is defined as two or more sovereign states with a loose, decentralized governing structure. So if we live in a confederacy, that's fine. Then we've transferred back into what we were 243 years ago. But unfortunately, Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution of the United States says that no state shall form a confederacy. So we have a constitutional issue that we probably should get discussing as well, if that's what's happened to us when we've switched back to confederacy, because confederacies are specifically barred against in our Constitution.
If you got that speech,
Pivotal moment shift your views on justice.
What the fuck?
What?
This one is fucked.
What's the code?
Tata.
Oh.
Gonna make me say all this shit? Hello, Joseph.
Hello?
Hi, Joseph. This is John from John Breaks Bad News. I have some bad news from Kyle for you.
You say Kyle?
Yeah. Even though he lusts for your gorgeous feet and succulent lips, you need to stop pretending that you're black. You suck at Rocket League, and you're a certified worm-ass boy. Next time you go to call someone a bitch, give yourself a long look in the mirror. Not too long, though. It might break it. You're a sexy piece of shit, and he hates you. Love you, buddy.
I love you.
Love you, bye.
Bye.
What the fuck?
I don't want to talk about somebody's succulent. That's disgusting.
Is that what got you so twisted about that call?
Yeah. Succulent feet.
John. For John, that is a lot worse. He hates feet. Like a lot.
It's disgusting. Especially gross man's feet. There's like tiers of feet that are disgusting. Like old people feet. I just want to fucking cut them off. Cut them off. Replace them with nubs. That's
Hello?
Hi, Vlad. This is John from John Breaks Bad News. I have some bad news from Roman for you.
Okay.
He just wanted to let you know that your botted, maxed, old-school RuneScape account sucks turtle wiener dipped in expired ranch, and he will report it every day until he dies.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate it.
No problem. I love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I don't know. I think they're just going to kill us all. You know what I mean? Interesting. Peter Thiel has like an enemies list of like 2 million people in Palantir.
yeah.
And Palantir came in on the heels of Doge. Elon Musk brought Doge in to every department, to the IRS, the Treasury Department, education, the rest of it. And everyone that worked at Doge had also worked for Palantir. And so when Doge left, the Palantir people stayed. And what they're doing now is they're creating a master database that has your education records, health records, tax records, the Treasury Department's records. And they're going to be in one giant searchable database for this administration with a $150 billion budget for ICE that wants to take citizenship from people that criticize Israel. And that's what people voted for when they voted for Trump.
What is Palantir? Can you explain this a little bit?
Palantir is a CIA cutout. So in 2001, after 9/11, they created this it's basically artificial intelligence or an algorithm to interpret these vast amounts of data. The intelligence community takes all this massive amounts of data, emails, phone calls, text messages. Palantir interprets all of it into insights that are usable by law enforcement. And so in 2001, after 9/11, they took what was a CIA program and they just effectively privatized it to bypass the Constitution. You know, Constitution protects people's privacy, but a private company doesn't have to play by the same rules.
So I'm instructing you that you cannot publish anything on a social media account going forward of any of the court proceedings that you receive from this court, from the public records process of
That's unconstitutional.
let me finish. And if you fail to take down the social media posts that you've already made of this court proceeding, that again,
I'm not going to do that either.
stop interrupting me, that again shows all sorts of other people in the courtroom. If you fail to take those down, then I will issue an order to show cause why you shouldn't be held in contempt of court. So I've issued that order. I will also issue that order in writing, and you and your attorney will be furnished a copy of it. All right. Do you have anything you want to say in response to that? You're allowed to object.
I'm not going to do it.
The objection is noted for the record. You're telling me that you're not going to do it. If it's determined at your next court proceeding that you haven't complied with this court's order, then I will initiate contempt proceedings against you.
All right, guys, is it lawful? We're going to run this through Due Process Defender, the most powerful litigation tool to help you stand up for your rights. What do you think this tool is going to say about what that judge is saying? Well, buckle up, here goes. Saw a video of the woman where the judge instructing her, giving her an order. She can't publish any of her court information. Anything from the court on social media. The judge said in the video that it was a public records request and she received a video of the sitting in the courtroom. Judge said in the court order if she doesn't comply and remove her social media post, he's going to file for an arrest warrant for contempt of court. Is this a constitutional rights violation? First step it does is the Constitution. The First Amendment right, protected freedom of speech, petition government for redress of grievance. Court hearings are default public proceedings. Case law recognizes the right of public and press to attend court proceedings. The judge issues a gag order to stop you from posting about public proceedings. It may be an unconstitutional prior restraint. The Supreme Court has held that prior restraints on speech are the most serious and least tolerable infringement on the First Amendment right. Courts exist for the people. If a judge tries to shut down public access or public discussion, you can argue that this suggests concealment. The law presumes openness. Secrecy must be justified by a compelling interest, like protecting a child victim's identity. So it must be narrowly tailored. The judge's order is unclear and overbroad or arbitrary, unenforceable. Denying you your ability to discuss your own public case prevents you from gathering community support, seeking witnesses, or even getting outside legal help. The judge goes beyond their lawful authority by issuing unconstitutional restrictions. This is acting in ultra viruses. That is how it is pronounced. Outside jurisdiction. A state court cannot lawfully override the U.S. Constitution. So how can you stand up for your rights? Object on the record, which she did. File a written motion. This motion is called a motion to vacate an unconstitutional gag order. It explains everything. Even if the court has an interest in witness safety, the restriction must be narrowly tailored. A blanket ban on all social media posting is overbroad. Push for transparency. Here goes Due Process Defender for the knockout punch. You want me to draft a sample motion to vacate unconstitutional gag order using the style of motions in your arsenal. This is what it's programmed with. Look, and here's what I need from you. That would be us. Full legal name, case number, court name and division, judge's name. We got the order detail, date of the judge's order restricting your social media post, exact language or some defendant shall not post court materials on social media or be subject to contempt. Any contempt threat that the judge say remove within so many days or face arrest. Yeah, he did say that. Your actions, what actions did you take? What you post, how you obtained it, and what is the relief that you want. It's asking you for all this information because it's going to write your motion to vacate for you. You'll be able to do any final edits that it needs, but it's going to plug it in for you because a lot of people don't know how to do this. They're lacking the education because the school system didn't teach you how to stand up for your rights. You have to pay for them. But basically, they created gatekeepers between you and your freedom that costs a lot of your labor to get free. And when a judge is trying to violate your rights, why has it got to be so hard, so expensive, so difficult to stand up for your rights that everybody died for? You would think they'd be there to help you stand up for your rights. Instead, they're there to take them away, strip them away, shut you up, and silence you. What a crock of shit. So after you get all this information,
You and this, Chief, because he's telling you the law.
This man and his lawyer, I tell you what, this guy's a complete psychopath.
You better quit playing. You messing with the wrong cracker. I'm telling you, I'm trucker mother. Oh.
It reminds me of that game Twisted Metal for PlayStation. He's loving this shit.
Come on! Yeah! Yeah, that's why you upside down in the media.
Bro is happy he is upside down. Damn.
Just get the blacks and put them in a line, small to big. I don't care. Hold on a minute. Let me put you on hands free. If they're eating, get rid of them. I don't need them. I don't care if they're working or not. And if any of them get in the way, just cut both their nuts off. Them white ones still smoking? Yep, one of them is. Hey. What about the other one? It's dead. It's dead. How high are they? About as high as they gonna get. Yeah, that's what I figured. Just do me a favor. Knock them out with a 2x4. Just replace them with them two smaller blacks. The last thing I want to do is mix up the whites and the blacks. Somebody gonna start tripping, and then somebody gonna get motherfucking popped. Hell, them white ones stay so high these days, they ain't even worth replacing. Hey, them Spanish ones still on the sheetrock? What the did you just say? Are these Spanish ones still on the sheetrock? Si, senor. All right, well, I'm about to head back now with ice. Did you say ice? But what you want me to do with all these?
This is for all the globers that still believe you can see the curvature of the earth from watching this